I wanted to create the biggest managerial merry-go-round in the world of football. So what did I do? I went into every single club in the top 5 divisions of Europe and released their manager. Now, I wanted to cause absolute carnage, and I think this is definitely going to do so. If we jump into the game, you can see there is every Premier League club, there is every club from Liga, the Bundesliga, Serie A, and La Liga. They are all looking for new managers, and every single employed manager at those clubs is now out of work. Who is going to end up where, and ultimately who is going to take home the silverware across Europe throughout the course of the season? That is what I'm going to find out. I have simulated all the way to the end of the season so we can see what has happened. But if you do like the FM experimental content, stuff like this is just a light-hearted video, there's nothing serious about it, then please do drop a like on the video down below to let me know that you're enjoying this sort of stuff, and consider subscribing as well. I did have a goal of hitting 20k by the end of 2023, so we are getting very, very close to that now, and if you do enjoy the content, please do consider hitting that big red button to subscribe down below. So without any further ado, let's simulate this first season and see who wins what. So first things first, we are going to dive in with the Premier League. Of course, that is the highest rated league in the game, and we do see that it wouldn't appear that there's a difference who the manager of Manchester City is. Manchester City and Erling Haaland are overpowered as they do go on to win the Premier League title. On the face of this, it doesn't look awful in terms of the league. Man City win. The top 4 is rounded off with Liverpool, Chelsea and Spurs. Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester United round off the top 7. I'm sure Brighton fans will be pretty upset that they have been relegated themselves alongside Fulham and Southampton. So let's have a look. Who was the manager of Premier League champions? Diego Simeone was the manager of Manchester City. Absolutely smashed it, and not really in terms of a style of football. Look at what Man City are playing. Oh, Simeone's such a rat. Hates conceding goals. Stones, Diaz and Laporte all playing. Walker, Cancelo, Rodri sat in front as well. I would love to see how many goals did this team concede. They lost 6 matches despite being so defensive. Conceded 24. Wasn't even the best in the Premier League, by the way. Still, Manchester City, it shows the power of being able to throw loads of money at it and build the best squad in world football. Who took over at Liverpool? Let's have a little look. Steven Gerrard, of course. Steven Gerrard took over as the Liverpool manager, despite having a bad time at Aston Villa. Liverpool still thought, you know, let's bring him back to be the manager. Chelsea, on the other hand, they hired Zinedine Zidane. Very Todd Bowley appointment, if I do say so myself. Spurs went from Antonio Conte to Sarri, so still defensive Italian football. You love to see it. Arsenal no longer have Mikel Arteta, they have Manuel Pellegrini. Newcastle have Brendan Rodgers instead of Eddie Howe, so there was some cross-divisional rotation here. Manchester United have Ruud van Nistelrooy as their manager, interestingly enough, to see Ruud back at Old Trafford. At the other end of the field, Gasperini, the Atalanta manager, goes to Brighton. Was he the man who got them relegated? Did they hire? No. So they hired Arne Slot. I don't know who that is. He is hired as Brighton manager. Departed the manager of Feyenoord. So former Feyenoord manager. Okay. So they hired him, and then it didn't really work out, and they got Gasperini, who will be managing them in the Championship next season. Fulham, let's have a look. Fulham got Jesse Marsch. Okay, very interesting. I could see that happening. Frank Lampard taking Southampton down as well. Very unfortunate. I will release this save in my Discord if you do want to go and see who is where and all of that good stuff as well. But a very interesting season in the Premier League. If we go over to La Liga, let's see who's taken the big jobs over here. Real Madrid do win the league pretty comfortably as well, with Jurgen Klopp as their manager. So no huge surprise that Klopp has taken one of the biggest jobs in world football and taken Real Madrid to be very successful. Barcelona have Julian Nagelsmann, obviously the Bayern Munich manager. He has taken his talents over to Spain to be the Barcelona manager, which is pretty darn interesting. Atletico no longer have Simeone. They do have Thomas Tuchel though, so I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you think that's an upgrade or not. If we have a look into Serie A, Lazio win the title. No pressure on me in the network game, with Simeone Inzaghi as their manager. He's gone from Inter and he's now gone over to Lazio, and won the league, which is very, very impressive to do so, even with Ciro Immobile. Juve now have this guy, Massimo Carra, not a manager that I am overly familiar with, was the manager at Bari, who are obviously down in the Serie B. Napoli, instead of Sarri, have Sergio Coensao. I always butcher these dudes' names. Obviously the Porto manager, which is a nice addition there. Inter, Pochettino, I can definitely see that happening in the future. AC Milan don't have a manager at the moment, so obviously things didn't go well. Who did they appoint out of curiosity? They brought Carlo Ancelotti back and sacked him. He won the Coppa Italia, but they sacked him. That's brutal. That's brutal, AC Milan. Bringing a manager who's won you multiple Champions Leagues back only to sack him. Interesting. Spalletti is the manager at Atalanta, of course. He is the former Napoli manager, so done well there. And then finally, instead of Jose Mourinho, Roma don't have a manager. Who did they hire? They hired Erik ten Hag and sacked him. Oh, man. Oh, that's not a good look. Erik ten Hag with a 44% win ratio. Not good enough for Roma, it would appear. Over to the Bundesliga we go. Let's take a look at the stages and the league table. Obviously, the main one is Bayern Munich. They do go on to win the league. No huge surprise there. With Pep returning to his former stomping ground. Again, very interesting. Guardiola moving back to Bayern. Very Pep-esque move. They have an abundance of money and are definitely the best team in the division. So I could definitely see that happening. Wolfsburg have Joachim Löw as their manager. Fair play to him. Obviously, the former German national team coach. Union Berlin absolutely smashing it. Not a mega Luke in this one, but Stefan Baumgart, who is the Cologne manager in real life. Love the cap on him. Good strong look for that. RB Leipzig have this guy. Unfortunately, I don't know who this guy is. Has been a manager at Wolves. Okay, former Sevilla manager. I didn't know who this guy is. Sorry, apologies apologies to everyone. Dortmund, just out of curiosity. Luis Enrique is the Dortmund manager, and they finished outside of the European places in the Bundesliga. Let's have a look at the final stop then, before we take a look at some of these European competitions. The PSG manager, Bruno Genzio, the former Rennes manager, so very nice promotion for him if you would look at things in terms of playing in managing in France, should we say. They went unbeaten in the league, only drawing two games. That's quite impressive, isn't it? Monaco have Ernesto Valverde as their manager. They did finish second in the division. Nice round off the Champions League places with, again, another manager that I'm not overly too familiar with. Zakarian, Mikel Der Zakarian. Looks like he was the former Brest manager. Is that how you say that? So again, another sort of internal promotion within France. Laurent Blanc, the former France manager, is in charge of Strasbourg. Lyon, they have this guy. Sorry guys, not overly familiar with this dude. Looks quite good. Has done quite well with Lyon. Okay, so out of curiosity, I want to check out a few things as I always do, especially in these simulations. World Cup holders, England. They beat Portugal in the final. Good. Well, neither team is there. So good to know. Champions League. Let's have a look at the European competitions and see who won those. Chelsea, with Zidane as their manager, go all the way, beating Manchester City in that final. The 4-3-3 of Zidane coming out on top of the super defensive formation of Diego Simeone, despite Ruben Diaz getting sent off. In terms of the Europa League then, let's have a little look. Spurs, what do we think of Tottenham? They win the Europa League, beating Benfica in the final. Kulievski and Heung-min Son, interesting there. And the Europa Conference League, is it a clean sweep of all English teams? No surprises, with the most money in world football being in the Premier League, and West Ham beat Villarreal in that final. Scamacca and Declan Rice doing the job there. Who was the West Ham manager, out of curiosity? Bielsa. Taking them to a 12th place finish in the Premier League, but also will play Europa League football next season. So that's quite interesting there. So clean sweep for all the English teams. Did we look at Tottenham? Yeah, it was Sarri as the manager there. So all in all, clean sweep for England. Some very interesting results in this video by releasing all of the managers. If you'd like to see more of this experimental type of content, guys, please do let me know down in that comment section. If you want to check out a playlist with a couple more ridiculous experiments that we have done, check out this playlist right here for your enjoyment.